Level 1. The casual forgetter. You are 22 years old, sitting in a sterile, white-walled clinic that smells faintly of burnt electronics and cheap lavender air freshener. On the metal table in front of you sits a small, metallic capsule containing a single, neon blue pill, the Tier 1 amnestic. You are here because of a girl whose name you can't look at without a dull ache in your chest. Or maybe just a bad habit you want to scrub away. You paid $50 for this entry-level trial. The technician, wearing an oversized lab coat with a faded logo, clips a cold sensor to your index finger. You swallow the pill. It tastes like copper and cold water. 5 minutes later, you walk out into the afternoon sun. You pull out your phone to text a friend about how nothing happened. But when you open your contacts, you stop. A specific name, someone you talk to every day for 3 years, looks like a random sequence of letters. The emotional weight is gone, replaced by a strange, hollow space in your mind. It's a minor victory, a small erasure of a daily nuisance. What nobody tells you at the beginning is that memory is an interconnected web. By erasing her name, you also lost the name of the Italian restaurant where you had your first date, leaving you staring at a menu online with a bizarre sense of unfamiliarity. This is your first taste of control over your own mind, a small, imperfect hack. You leave the clinic feeling lighter, yet you feel a subtle chill, realizing you just traded a piece of your reality for temporary comfort. Level 2. The Routine Optimizer. By age 25, you are visiting the low-cost suburban clinics every 3 months. Your target now isn't a person, but the friction of daily life. You enter a dim room with 2 leather recliners and a humming machine that sounds like an old refrigerator. For $200, you undergo a localized synaptic dampening. The goal is simple. Wipe out the memory of every spoiler for your favorite shows, the embarrassing public speaking failure from last Tuesday, and the lyrics to that annoying pop song stuck in your head for weeks. You wear an elastic headband with copper nodes pressed against your temples. A mild, tingling warmth spreads across your forehead. When you leave, your mind feels clean, like a hard drive that just had its cache cleared. You become more productive, less weighed down by the trivial anxieties that paralyze everyone else. But then you notice a glitch. You are standing in the grocery store aisle, looking at a brand of coffee you always buy, but you can't remember why you prefer it. The small, intuitive preferences that form your personality are beginning to blur. You realize that to wipe out the bad data, you have to sacrifice the context that makes you who you are. Still, the efficiency is addictive, and you look at people crying over old arguments with a sense of distant superiority. Level 3. The Academic Purger. At 27, you join an underground online community of tech professionals and students trading custom cognitive scripts. You buy your first second-hand neuromodulator on an online forum for $800, a bulky, scratched plastic headset that plugs directly into your laptop. Your bedroom smells of ozone and stale coffee as you run custom open-source code to target specific blocks of useless information. You spend an entire weekend erasing for years of outdated programming languages and textbook definitions from college to make room for a new corporate contract. You watch lines of code on your screen turn from green to red, signaling the permanent deletion of synaptic pathways. When you wake up on Monday, your mind is an empty canvas, ready to absorb new data at twice the speed of your peers. You feel like a machine, optimized and unstoppable. But at a family dinner that weekend, your brother laughs and brings up a childhood vacation to the coast. You smile and nod, but inside, panic sets in. You remember the name of the hotel, but the image of the sunset, the sound of the waves, and the feeling of the sand are gone. In purging the academic clutter, your script accidentally clipped a neighboring cluster of emotional memories. It's here that you realize a fundamental truth. The brain does not organize information in neat folders, and every deletion carries a hidden tax. Level 4. The Traumatic Redactor. You are 30 now, and the stakes are no longer trivial. You walk into a licensed, mid-tier private laboratory with tinted windows and a security guard at the door. You are paying $3,000, half of your savings, to erase the memory of a catastrophic car accident that left you with a permanent tremor in your right hand and a crippling fear of highways. The equipment here is professional. A heavy, articulating arm lowers a sleek carbon fiber helmet over your skull. The neurologist doesn't speak much. He just adjusts the dials on a glowing console. You feel a sharp, freezing sensation at the back of your neck, followed by a smell like burning sage. When the helmet lifts, you look at your scarred right hand with total confusion. You know you were in an accident, the medical records say so, but you have no visual or emotional memory of the crash. The fear is gone. You can drive again without your heart racing. This change alters how you view everything. You realize that trauma isn't an unchangeable reality, but merely a configuration of neurons that can be edited like a text document. Yet, when friends ask how you overcame your fears so quickly, you find yourself fabricating a story about therapy and inner strength, feeling a strange disconnect between the person who suffered and the person who walked out of that lab. Level 5. The Habitual Architect at 34. You have crossed the line from a passive patient to a serious practitioner of cognitive engineering. You don't use commercial clinics anymore. You have established a relationship with a rogue neurochemist who operates out of a clean room in a commercial warehouse district. You are spending $10,000 a session to systematically restructure your personality by erasing deep-seated behavioral patterns. You target your tendency to procrastinate, your childhood insecurities, and your old defense mechanisms. The process requires a deep, conscious dive into your own mind while connected to an active magnetic resonance grid. You have to actively recall your worst memories, while the machine floods those specific circuits with targeted high-frequency pulses to shatter them forever. The pain is intense, a deep, thumping migraine that lasts for 48 hours. But when the fog clears, you are a disciplined, cold, and highly efficient individual. You stop seeking approval from others, because the memories of the rejections that created that need have been turned to ash. You move up to a senior management role at your firm, managing projects with absolute emotional detachment. Guard this part of the journey, because it explains why so few people ever reach the final levels. You are no longer just erasing facts. You are actively redesigning your own soul. Level 6. The Executive Wipe by age 39. Your reputation in specialized corporate circles is secure. Companies hire you for high stakes, confidential turnarounds because they know you can handle classified, toxic data and then legally destroy it. You enter a luxury medical suite on the top floor of a skyscraper overlooking the city. A legal team watches as a medical professional prepares a $25,000 custom enzyme cocktail designed to wipe the last 6 months of your professional life, every trade secret, every non-disclosure agreement, every corporate betrayal you witnessed. You sit in a leather chair, watching the city lights flash through the glass as the IV drip starts. The sensation is heavy, like sliding into a dark, warm ocean. The difference between looking good and being good appears at this moment. You aren't doing this to forget pain. You are doing it as a professional transaction. When you wake up, you are handed a check and a summary sheet explaining who you are and what your current bank balance is. You look at your luxury watch and your expensive suit with a sense of professional pride. But when you return to your empty apartment, you realize you don't know who bought the art on the walls, or why you chose this specific view of the city. Level 7. The Identity Sculptor. You are 45, and money is no longer an issue. You are invited to private, invitation-only clinics in international waters, where elite clients pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to completely reinvent themselves. You sit across from a master cognitive architect in a room paneled in dark wood. You aren't just erasing memories anymore. You are trimming away entire decades of your life to maintain absolute focus and youthfulness of mind. You choose to erase the memory of your failed first marriage, the grief of losing your parents, and every professional failure you ever experienced. The technology is flawless now. A silent, liquid-cooled quantum scanner map your brain with micron-level precision. The process takes a week of isolated immersion. When you emerge, you feel 30 years younger. Your mind is sharp, vibrant, and completely free of regret, cynicism, or sorrow. You are a monument to human engineering. People are drawn to your absolute confidence and lack of emotional baggage. Yet, during a quiet moment on a private balcony, you look at your own hands and feel a profound sense of vertigo. You have erased so much of your past that you no longer have a story. You are just a collection of highly optimized present moments, a ghost haunting a pristine, expensive shell. Level 8. The total slate at 52, you reach the elite tier of the experiment. You are selected for the ultimate corporate-sponsored cognitive resetter procedure worth millions, reserved only for those who need to completely vanish into a new life or start a massive global project with a blank slate. You enter a subterranean facility that looks more like a space station than a hospital. You lie down inside a massive, liquid nitrogen-cooled hyperbaric chamber. This process will not just target specific memories, it will systematically dissolve every autobiographical memory from your birth up to 5 minutes ago. Your language skills, professional talents, and motor functions will remain intact, but your history will be completely wiped out. You stare at the ceiling of the chamber as the sedation begins to take effect. If you have made it this far, it's because you have already accepted that the ultimate form of control is the complete surrender of who you used to be. You don't feel fear. You feel a massive, quiet anticipation. The world fades to absolute black. Level 9. The Legacy Ghost. You wake up in a sunlit room with floor-to-ceiling windows, overlooking a quiet, misty valley. Your mind is perfectly calm, completely still, like a frozen lake under a gray sky. A nurse in a simple gray uniform walks in and hands you a cup of hot black coffee. You take a sip. The taste is bitter, sharp, and strangely familiar, though you don't know why. You look down at your hands, noting the faint scar on your right knuckle, but it tells no story to your mind. On the wooden table next to your bed sits a small, Handwritten journal left by the person who occupied your body before the reset. You open the first page. The handwriting is your own, and the first line reads, Asterisk level 1, 22 years old, sitting in a sterile, white-walled clinic. Asterisk as you read the descriptions of the names, the clinics, the failures, and the long climb through the ranks of forgetfulness, you realize that every step of that journey was designed to bring you to this exact moment of absolute peace. You have no past, no regrets, and no identity to defend. You are the ultimate result of the experiment. Somewhere out there, a 22-year-old is walking into a low-cost clinic for the very first time, looking to forget a name, completely unaware that the end of that road is a beautiful, silent room where the past no longer exists.